looking back at it, we didn't understand the severity of how it could have gone. So we had a lot of debt at this point. So talking the tune of maybe like 400k.
Yeah.
If that would have gone wrong, so a lot of people will think, I need to start a brand because we want to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
But all we thought was, actually, how do we create a brand that pays us $5,000 a month? I don't think people think like that. It was just brilliant. It was just fantastic. It did 1.8 million its first year.
Yeah.
11 in its second year, and just short of 20 in its third. Do you know what looks really amazing? When you put a massive EBITDA at the end of the year and it goes on Companies House, and the real people that actually matter see that data.
Danny, thanks so much for making some time. Absolutely buzzing to talk to you. I want to dive into how you got here, what the Danny Buck origin story is. For people who don't know you, you basically run the biggest men's jewelry brand on Shopify. You did maybe something like 20 million in revenue last year. There's the story or the stereotype of like the kid on the school bus selling sweets and all that kind of stuff. Were you that guy, or like where does your journey start? Does it come from your parents? How do you get going on this kind of road? Because it's a road less traveled. Most people don't take it.
It's a good question. So I started, I don't really like the term entrepreneur, but like I started selling my own things when I was 5. So my dad used to take me to car boot sales, and that was just a way of making a little bit of extra cash. We would go to car boot sales, we'd buy things which were cheaper, and then try and sell them on our stall. And this was every Saturday morning at 5:30. We'd get up, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I remember once I bought some baseball cards and I was reselling them individually. I learned a lot about buying and selling through there. So it's obviously buy something for cheaper and then sell it for more, like that. As a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, like going through it was amazing experience. That was like pure training, but my dad had no idea he was doing that. It was just something we did for maybe £200 a week we would get from the back of it, and he'd give me like, I don't know, 20 quid or something like that, and I'd go off buzzing with it. One time, this guy, I was on a car boot stall, and my dad would just, every now and again, he'd just leave me to go to the loo. So he just left me, and we had this Hoover, and he said, if anyone comes, sell us Hoover for 20 quid. I was like, okay. And this guy came up and he said, how much for the Hoover? I was like, £20. He's like, I'll give you £10 for it. I think I was about 7 at the time. And I said, no, my dad won't let me sell it for less. He was like, I'll tell you what, if I give you £10 now and I'll go and try it, make sure it still works over there. And then if it works, I'll come back and give you the other £10. And he did that. He got the Hoover, gave me £10, and he went, and he never came back. He totally fiddled me, this guy. And I just thought, again, like little lessons you just remember, like that was a negotiation. Like, how can I apply that, like, little stories like that?
Don't trust anyone.
I just can't believe somebody fiddled a 7-year-old, but maybe don't use that.
No.
You know what I mean? It's just like someone did me over. So when people talk about like when people ask me about my upbringing, I remember that for me. The car boot sales were definitely that. Yeah. I used to sell wallets on eBay. Mm-hmm. So I'd sell like leather wallets, which I'd buy from Thailand. This was whilst I was at university. Yeah. We'd sell wallets which we'd buy for about £10, sell them for £40. And then we had a few guys in the house where we were. So this was third year university. And we were making like £1,000 a month selling these wallets.
You finished university, didn't you? I think
I did, but I didn't care about it. So I didn't try. So university for me was a waste of time, because I started university when Facebook started in the UK. So it came around when I was in first year. The syllabus I was learning had nothing to do with social media at all, whereas it was developing around us. So we had people on Facebook, and I was getting taught about radio advertising when I knew that social media was developing, something was like coming together. They weren't even talking about SEO actually at this point. So the syllabus was that far behind. I knew what I was learning was irrelevant. So I took the fundamentals, and I have to say, I didn't particularly think university propelled me forward. It set me back.
Yeah. But when you did leave, you ended up in a job. I think it's quite interesting how you like quickly, from what I understand, like you ended up in like a job, but then you quickly navigated your way to doing something that you were interested in again. What was your time at the agency? How did that evolve?
Yeah, so I joined it was a software company, but they had a web development side to it, so it accounted for about 20% of revenue. for them. So it wasn't their main earner. It was actually my brother-in-law who hired me for maternity cover for one of the customer support roles. So that's what I did. When I joined, I realised the girl, which don't want to throw under the bus, to be honest, but it wasn't a full-time job. So it took me 2 days to clear the tickets because there wasn't too many. Yeah. So then I started asking for more work. I said, what can I do? Is there anything I can do in terms of sales? So they did that, and I took over the sales side of it, and we grew the company. And I started just getting myself understanding the industry. It was website development, and I wanted to then bring a marketing side to the business. But the MD of the company at the time just rejected it. So I wanted to bring SEO. This was before SEO was mainstream. I wanted to bring SEO into the company. I had a business plan for him. I actually produced a business plan of how it would work, what people we'd need to hire. And the MD just said no. He just said, I'm not interested in entertaining it. So I said, fine. I got a bit pissed off. He didn't even open the business plan. So I got pissed off and just decided, I just remember coming home to Amy, my wife, and I said, I think I'm probably young enough to give this a go myself. So I did. I went to Graham, who's my brother-in-law, and I said to him, I'm going to leave. I think I'm young enough to give this a shot. And he basically said, I want to do it too. It took me by surprise. I thought he was going to be a bit pissed off I was leaving, but he said, fine, let's do it together. But his wife had just got pregnant at the time, Amy's sister. So he was like, and he was on a decent salary and quite comfortable. And he said, so I think I need to just work out a bit of a transition plan. So we did it over 3 months. Basically, I built the company up, got a few clients, got enough for him to transition over, all that sort of stuff. And then that's how it worked. So from that point there, when I handed my notice in and then Graham handed his notice in, I think there was 5 people in the web division. Yeah. And the MD basically just said, that totally fucks us up. Would you consider buying the division? So myself and Graham got bank funds. My mum and dad lent me some money. We got some debt from this body in Liverpool, basically as an investment fund. Yeah. There was like three forms of capital, all with personal guarantees. We didn't put any houses on it because it wasn't really an option at that point. But yeah, all personal guarantees. We would have had to pay the money back. It was about 150 grand, something like that between the two of us. I was 22. All of a sudden, it's a bit like a mortgage. But we knew it would come off because basically we had contractual revenue with the company. So we knew we had contracts in place, and the way that we structured the deal, the contractual revenue would pay for the investment. I was 22, did a management buyout, learned a lot about contracts, about how to structure deals, how to create cash flow. And that was a big moment. It was fantastic. Just like, how can you ask for more at that sort of thing? Yeah.
I think that's incredible, isn't it? Really, at 22, most people are just out of uni, or they're even still there out on a Friday, 5 pints deep. You must have had good self-belief at that time, really, to go through with that and just have the confidence, even the leaving to, I'm not happy with this, I'm going to go and do it myself.
Yeah, I think the big lesson in it was I realised I was young enough to fail. Yeah. So I had a word with myself, and I understood that if it fucks up, I've still got an opportunity to go back into work. And that was a big thing. You can do this at any time. I could do it right now. I'm still young enough to fail. I think it's just having that confidence, not necessarily in yourself. I don't think it's like it's an arrogance or an ego thing. It's more, can I recover from this? And I think that was it. I believed that I could. Yeah.
And then basically you're running the agency for 8 years, and you get to a point where you're seeing your clients, or you're seeing some e-com clients making lots of money. I think you've said before, they're driving Ferraris and you're driving a Mercedes. And you start getting interested in maybe jumping over the other side of the wall. Take me to that point and what your first steps are, because that is the beginning of what you're doing right now, isn't it?
Yeah, so I thought the Mercedes was amazing, by the way, at the time. It was a great car, Mercedes. Yeah. But yeah, so basically what was happening was we brought more and more clients on, and what I forgot to mention was we specialised in e-commerce at the time. So over the 8 years, we built e-commerce websites and then did the marketing for them. And some of these clients, they had 5 people in their in-house team. and they were doing like 20 million turnover a year, and they had us, and they were paying us like £5,000 a month or 10 grand a month, some of them. I'm like, oh, this has got to be backwards. It just, towards the end, I saw it happen more and more, because we worked with a lot of the fast fashion brands.
Yeah.
And it was booming. It was a booming industry, and I just saw some of these brands just skyrocketing. And like you mentioned the Ferrari comment. So yeah, there was one guy who had a Ferrari, and I knew that, yes, this person was great at products, which is something that I really underestimated before going on the retail side, but I assumed with the right marketing strategy, you can polish a turd, basically, and went with that mentality. And to be honest, in that time, you probably could. You could get away with some shit, because people just believe it. They'd see it on an influencer, and they would buy it. I don't know if you remember, like these black face masks and all these mad toothpastes and some weird cream that had come out, and they would sell.
Yeah, have this look like this.
Yeah,
that kind of vibe.
Yeah, and it would work. So we did that, and I just thought to myself, again, like, so similar to the moment where I left the software company, I got to the point I was like, but this was 8 years. This was a good term. I'd done my training. I'd learnt loads about other people's businesses, and I just thought, this is the time to look at maybe doing my own brands. And that was it. And I thought, how can I do that? I'll set up a company which can create almost like an in-house agency for its own brand, because that's what I understood, and that's where Brandbuildr's come out.
And the idea for Brandbuildr is basically to build multiple brands within an agency, and the agency serves them all, right?
It was. So the idea was, we'll create 5 to 10 small, profitable brands, and then create a deal flow of basically selling them at one by one. So basically, it might take 3 years to get one sale, but then after that, there's a bit of a rhythm. But then CRAFTD came along and totally took everyone by surprise. I mean, Circulr was the first brand started, wasn't profitable, had to rejig it a bit, had to change it round. It's become profitable now in sunglasses space. Honu came about, and that went profitable straight away. CRAFTD was more than profitable. It was just brilliant. It was just fantastic. It did 1.8 million its first year. 11 in its second year, and just short of 20 in its third. So okay, but which is brilliant. So that our philosophy of building small, profitable brands went out the window with CRAFTD.
Yeah, it's interesting though, because that approach of having the multiple brands, I know you've said in the past, like, it's a headache and you shouldn't do it, but at the same time, it is giving you the ability to make mistakes with one, not repeating with another. Yeah, because starting Circulr, I think you've said yourself, like, you made mistakes with it, and you also had this big headache of the agency deal going awry.
Yes. So when I decided to leave the agency, I sold my shares to the board. So this is another reason I fell out of love with it, because it got quite corporate as a company. We had a board, so shareholders board, and then an operational board. And then there was a lot of hires going on all the time, people leaving all the time, just like constant turnover of staff. It's just like a very people-driven business. A couple of the shareholder, like advisors and like kind of the boards that we had were corporate, and it's just not my style. I just don't like it. It's like a timekeeping thing, and you have to be in certain times, and just not how I like to work. So so I sold my shares back to the board. We started Circulr. I'd put a chunk of cash into stock. It wasn't turning a profit, but the goal was to keep income coming in from the sale, so the share sale, and then put it back into the brands. That was the idea. But then in January 17, I think it was, or 17 or 18, the board basically put the old agency into administration and chopped my sale. I only got one payment. It was just an absolute nightmare for us. Left us totally skinned. Left us totally negative in equity. We had to look at refinancing loads of things. Tried to get rid of my car, but I had 10k in negative equity on it, so we've literally had to pay 10 grand just to get rid of it. Yeah, that was tough. We basically we had some points on a credit card that we changed into vouchers for supermarket. So we got vouchers. Oh God, I think it was like you could go Sainsbury's, Tesco, and we just that's what we did.
It's not funny, is it? But like we're laughing now, but that sounds like a pretty low moment where you've left your business. You think you're going to end up with a decent kind of payout. You've started a new brand. You're super excited about it. You've got a plan for it, and then it all comes crashing down, and you're printing off vouchers to shop at Sainsbury's.
Yeah, I think looking back at it, we didn't understand the severity of how it could have gone. So we had a lot of debt at this point. So talking the tune of maybe like 400k.
Yeah.
If that would have gone wrong, and we had like myself and my wife, we had to go and get jobs. That would have taken a long time to pay off.
Yeah.
A long, long time. There wasn't a quick way out of it. We just had to finance a few things. We had to get a couple of loans, refinance old loans, just stuff which is distracting you from the business.
Mm.
And then, we cracked it when Honu, which is the second brand that we launched, female jewellery brand. It just clicked with that one because we decided, like, what are we really strong at, myself and my wife's skills. So she's great from customer experience, developing like the kind of operation of an e-commerce brand. That's what she's done in the past. So what are we really good at? So if I can do the marketing and she can do the operation, there's two people there. How much money do we need a month? I think we worked it out. It was about $5,000 to cover like loans, credit cards, car payments, mortgage, all that sort of stuff. So we need to net 5,000. So can we do this under the VAT threshold? Can we create a brand that comes in under, I think it's about 75k, and profit 60k? So we worked it out from there. How do we do that? And that's how Honu came about. So it was like, we got the idea, it was jewellery, we knew it had okay margin, but we wanted it to be quite a low price, so it was an easy, impulsive sale. We could do it on social media, like Instagram basically, and email, so free channels, bit of influencer marketing to boost it, all this sort of stuff. And we got there, and basically, from the day we launched it, it was profitable. So it started, that's how we did it. So a lot of people will think, I need to start a brand because we want to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
But all we thought was, actually, how do we create a brand that pays us 5,000 a month?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think people think like that. It's very hard now Facebook ads, as of like today, now Facebook ads has gone. But you can create a brand that will do under 100k and create a wage, which is probably more than a lot of people's salary, by doing something super niche. Ours was sea turtle jewellery, basically. So super niche, and you get to a place where you're happy not making it big. And that's what we did. So it kind of brought us right back. Because with Circulr, it was very different. There was a lot of ego in Circulr from me. I can show these guys, I can create a brand that's got millions of turnover. I didn't give a shit about profit. It was like, I can create a brand that's got millions and millions of turnover. But got it wrong, which is bad, really bad. Whereas Honu made more money than Circulr from the first day. Literally, as soon as it's got like $1,000 and it had made, I don't know, say £700 profit, that's made more than Circulr in the whole year.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? When you reframe it like that, I don't need to make millions. I just need to make enough to live a pretty comfortable lifestyle and have the freedom to travel.
Yeah.
That's actually a lot more appealing prospect, potentially. People, what are they craving? Are they craving being a millionaire, having loads of money, or is it just having freedom and not having to go to an office 5 days a week?
Exactly. That was our whole premise then started to change. So now we were paying off the debts, and then we were like, so we are free. We can do our own content shoot in Croatia. So we'd book flights for Croatia. By this point, it was all fine because we were servicing the debts. So we understood that we had money spare. So we'd got to a nice place. We were paying all our bills, all our taxes. Everything was good. Like, we were still massively in debt, but we had a plan to fix that. So we started to do this lifestyle of, in fact, this is how it came about. So we went to Croatia. It was for a wedding. It was my friend's wedding. we thought we'll do a content shoot. I'll do some content about how we're building brands whilst we're working remotely, all this sort of stuff. And that's how Brandbuildr came about. So Honu was starting to churn, Amy was running it by herself. I couldn't do that much marketing because of the price point, so I couldn't do loads of Facebook ads. We did a bit Facebook ads, but it was on something called a cost cap. So it was basically like, here's £50,000 Facebook, go and get us sales for £2. Some days it'd work, some days it wouldn't. So it was on like a super low budget, but there was not much I could do with it. So I started doing consultancy. And the consultancy I was doing was how you can build brands and work remotely. So we come up with this thing called Brandbuildr plan. And this is all in the past now, but it was super, super helpful for me doing that consultancy because it was pure profit, basically. It's pure income. And we'd like record whilst we were away. And I really got a sense for how much I value my time, my freedom over the money.
Yeah.
It's a Tim Ferriss thing, what he says in his 4-hour workweek book. It was like, we worked out what we needed to make our perfect life, and it was $5,000 a month. That's what it was at the time. That's all it was, $5,000 a month. So why do we need more? Why are we putting ourselves under pressure and all this sort of stuff? Why are we putting external pressure to appear like we're doing well, when actually, for us to be happy, it's to go on holiday, to travel wherever like Madrid, I think we went to, and just places, and drink lovely wine and all this sort of stuff. And from that kind of social media persona I was putting out, Alex Cannon, my CRAFTD business partner, approached me and said, I'd really resonate with your values of freedom, and it's how I want to be, because he's a model and influencer at the time, and he just started a family, and he was away. Whereas he felt, even though it was his own company, he felt he was working for someone because people were taking him away. And he said, I want to start a brand, and I feel like I've got an idea. It's men's jewellery, and the space isn't really tapped yet. And I was like, great, okay. Didn't think he was asking me to be a business partner. I thought he was asking me to advise him. And he was like, so do you want to do it together? And I was like, what? And he just said, he's like, men's jewellery brand. I was like, oh, like partners. And it was like, I was like, wow, okay. I thought you were just telling me there's an opportunity. You wanted me to do consultancy. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I think we could do it. So there's footage of it somewhere, but basically I think it's videos, might be some pictures, I have to dig them out, but Amy's packing Honu on one side of a box room in our house, and I'm packing CRAFTD on the other side. Yeah. Me and Amy would go, she'd have a bag of Honu, I'd have a bag of CRAFTD, and then we just literally take them, and we made friends with like post office staff, and it was great. It was that summer when England it had like 6 weeks without rain or something, so we'd like walk to the post office in the sun, we'd get a beer on the way back. It was just a brilliant time. We still say it was like one of our happiest like summers together.
Why do you think CRAFTD made at the time, and still does it make so much sense? It's because if I'm looking at the brand, I can see why, but I'm interested in what your thoughts were, or what Alex's thoughts were at the time as well.
I think it's my experience and Alex's vision coming together. So Alex is amazing at creating all the products and has obviously a ridiculous eye for creative, whereas my experience in e-commerce and building an operation and a business, and a profitable business, and excluding the circular kind of education, which was great. It was just it's like a 400 grand course, basically. It's been quite good, actually. I've had, now Circular's profitable anyway, but I've had profitable businesses all the way through. So I think my kind of eye for that, building a culture as well, a company culture, which is massively important, because I understand what company I wouldn't want to work for. So I make sure that anything that I would like, everybody gets. So if I want a holiday, I don't have to ask anyone. I'll tell people I'm going away so they know, but I won't have to get it signed off. So none of our team need to get things signed off. They just need to let us know. The same with working hours. Nobody has working hours, because if I go and watch United on a Tuesday night and have too many beers or too many Guinness, and I can't be asked working Wednesday morning, then I won't work Wednesday morning. It'd be pointless me doing it, because I'll probably do poor work. So it's the same for the team, and everyone who's connected to the company. You understand what you've got to achieve as a role, but if you can't be asked working for a morning, then who cares, really? If it still gets done by the end of the week, it doesn't matter.
They all seem to as well, like the brands, so CRAFTD and Circulr, I'm thinking in particular, they both really stand up for the consumer in a way. Like, it's the quality of the product, the price point. They, in my eyes anyway, like, they seem to have a respect for the consumer. They don't treat the consumer as an idiot. Whereas I think if you look at a lot...
I was going to say, you haven't got a business if you don't look after the customer.
Yeah. So, and I think that's one thing I think you've done really, is you take that side of it. Whereas I do think a lot of brands treat the consumer like an idiot, charge them these crazy prices for a product that doesn't actually perform. You can dress stuff up with a fancy campaign, and probably I think that's worked for a lot of people for a long time, because what you would have had TV ads and you would have had people shopping in stores, and it's really hard to start a business. But now the beauty of D2C is that you don't actually need that much money to start, and you can live on the quality and the right price point and the right message and the right values. How have you like made your brands work in that way and prioritize the customer in that way?
It comes down to, instead of viewing it as customer service, which I feel is reactive, we focus on customer experience, which is proactive. So we were like, how can we make the experience better for the customer, rather than, oh, this customer's got a problem, fix it. And then you see the same problems coming in over and over, you do nothing about it. So we put the customer right in the middle. Who is buying the product? Why are they buying it? And then how do we make that experience better? And we just think like that. It is quite simple. We have a big customer experience team, and it's our marketing, if you think about it. So we make mistakes like anybody would. We say we have certain things, like if a product breaks, we'll replace it. Whereas some companies will be like, oh, send me a picture. Oh no, we can't do that. And they don't want to do it. Whereas for us, we'd rather keep the customer, look after the customer. We can give refunds and stuff like that if they're not happy, but we'd rather keep that customer. So it's because we've marketed out, we've got all these costs to get customers in. We'd rather look after that person so that they say they had a great experience and tell everyone about it. Yeah.
In terms of getting them in as well, so there's a couple of interesting things I think with CRAFTD that you've done. There's the Ronaldo poster, touch on that, and also like working with Conor McGregor. So how do you end up working with Conor McGregor?
Okay, so that's not me, that one. That was Alex, 100% Alex. Everything was Alex. So he's just over time built some connections. He basically created the pendant, had connections with his best mate. So through networking, it was networking after like years and years, he got an opportunity to create the pendant. He then made this whole thing himself, designed it all, then took it over to Ireland and was with one of Conor's friends, and he was like, do you want to meet him? And Alan was like, yeah. So he just took it in, showed him it, and he was like, this is it, I've designed it, it's your family crest, all this sort of stuff. It was very personal. And it was, to be honest, it was done with the intention of not getting something in return. I think that's why it worked.
It's genuine.
And yeah, it was genuine. It was purely genuine out of respect. I think he had a big fight coming up, and yeah, Alex had known his friends for a while, so yeah, it was just a nice thing. And to be honest, the product is the crest that he made is phenomenal. It's solid gold as well, so it's worth a fortune as well. So that if we'd just gone over with like a piece of brass or a little tin necklace or something, it wouldn't have worked. So we put an investment into it, but yeah, it works, and he wears it all the time. There's videos of him showing it his kid, and it's amazing to see that now. Yeah. We might do some more custom stuff in the future. Yeah. But for now, it's about doing stuff for custom stuff like that. It's expensive for us to do, so it's got to be for the right type of people. Yeah. Maybe for Rashford one day. Yeah. Ronaldo. Please.
That would be a good
Ronaldo.
Idea.
Yeah. So yeah, let's try and get this podcast in front of Ronaldo, and we'll make him a custom pendant.
Yeah. There's a lesson in there, though, isn't there? Like, with working with people and you see it with influencers, it's easy to give someone some money to wear something once. It's hard to give them something that they genuinely love and they're going to just wear. Yeah. You don't even have to pay them to wear it. They just wear it.
Yeah, it's dead. It's dead in the water, that game. But it's not just customers, it's people on social they're so savvy now. They understand that what's being promoted. They understand what's an advert. That's why people are on TikTok, because they got sick of being sold to. And I think you've got a bunch of influencers that now having to go over to TikTok, the following hasn't come over because they haven't got anything about them. Like you need something about you to become a creator on TikTok, and I think the social media plays a better world over there. I do love Instagram, of course, like still, and I like where it's going with reels and things like that. But if you're an influencer, you really need to be someone who offers value, and that's it. I think gone are the days where you just have a high following and sell constantly to people.
Yeah.
I think there's a way to handle that now. You need proper relationships, proper connections with your audience, offer value back, and then when you are selling something to them, it's something you actually care about.
Yeah. One really cool thing you've done with CRAFTD was the Ronaldo billboard. Talk me through your thoughts leading up to arranging that and how it came to be.
So, for anyone that doesn't follow me, I'm a big United fan. I've come from Stretford, just around the corner from the ground. So I just grew up, my granddad, my dad, everyone, like whole family, bar one, City fan. So I grew up with Ronaldo, the best player I've ever seen. Absolutely obsessed with him. Everything is about, as a person, what he's become in terms of mentality, probably an idol, if you want to say. So when it came about that he was potentially going to Man City, I didn't believe it. It's probably emotional. I didn't believe it at all. I thought there's no way this will happen. And I was sat in a beer garden with our marketing director, and I was saying to her, there's no way this will happen. I think we should try and preempt if he does go back to United. I think we should buy some form of PR, basically something we can do PR. So she's like, I know some people who do the billboards, so let's do it. Let's get some artwork mocked up. And then throughout the day, we've seen it change. It was Man City. It was up Man City, Man City, Man City. Oh, actually, Man United are interested. In City have dropped out, and we bought it. So we bought it there, and we were up against a big, well-known media company, and they were bidding against us for this space. And I'd already got the artwork done. We'd already been in talks to get the space. So we just basically decided, said, what's it going to take to get these guys out of the picture? And we just go with it today, and that's what we did. And we placed it, but because we placed it at 5 p.m. and he signed at 5 to 5, or it was announced at 5 to 5, it was up within minutes. We got all this press coverage.
Yeah.
So we got press coverage from the BBC. I went live on BBC in the morning, Sky News, newspapers, MENs, all those people. And it was just brilliant for PR. It was brilliant because the messaging we used was all crafted. So again,
CRAFTD to last or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like relationships crafted to last. So we use a lot about meaning in CRAFTD's marketing. So Ronaldo, for me, the way he's crafted himself and all that, there was a fit. And yeah, we did it, and bang, like off it went. Big PR, loads of links, loads of backlinks, loads of SEO, loads of PR coverage. Got to go on the BBC, which was fucking scary as whatever.
How do you put a value on something like that? Like a return on investment? It's impossible, I know, but what?
We just don't. We just don't. It's something we class as brand campaigns. You could judge it over search volume increases. You could judge it on traffic, website traffic. So we anything that's not paid. So imagine you've got like a bar and you've got paid spend and other stuff. It goes in other stuff for us.
Sick. No, very cool. Very cool. What are your thoughts on Facebook at the moment and TikTok? Like a lot of people make out that it's Armageddon out there and it's like complete crisis times. It seems like a lot of people are struggling with it. How do you think about it?
It's obviously a minefield. There's a lot of people struggling, which isn't nice. It's how I get asked a lot about what we're doing at the moment. So for me, nothing's changed in terms of our marketing strategy. So our digital strategy is still customer acquisition, lifetime value. It's still messaging the moment, still understanding who's buying the products and why they're buying them. It's just where they are might be changing. So previously we could get to those people through Facebook ads, and now it might be through brand advertising. So it might be some form of brand campaign, or it might be working with a really relevant influencer. It might be all sorts. It might not be any of those things. Who knows where it's going to go? It's definitely making things harder for growth, and it's definitely making us think a bit more about who we are as a brand. But I think that's a good thing. This year particularly will probably make us a much stronger business. If you look at this over 10 years, so for me, I've watched the House of Gucci. So I watched that recently, and the way that the Gucci family were thinking at the start obviously didn't work out too well for them, but the way they were at the start was, how do I build something for the next 5 years? How do I build something for the next 10 years? How do I think long term with this? And I feel that Facebook advertisers in the D2C space are a bit guilty of it. So they think in the form of, how do I get sales now? I need to increase my revenue right now. I need to get more sales. I need to do this. And that's not how brands should be thinking. That's what dropshippers do. And dropshippers can make a lot of money and all that, and that's cool, but it's not. I want something sustainable. I want something forever. And I want to build the biggest men's jewelry brand in the world. I want to take on all the high street players. I want to be the biggest, the best. I want to bring value back to the community and not just sales. So that vision's always been there. But if you start, I've been guilty of it myself. I've been like, oh, we need more revenue. Let's just turn our Facebook ads up. But it doesn't really work like that. If you do a sale, it doesn't work like that because you train a customer that you can buy it cheaper. So it's just, I feel Facebook ads, great, it's gone. But I've survived Google Penguin when you could buy links and appear at the top. The first round of Facebook ads, before even Instagram ads were around, and now they're gone. What's next? TikTok, email, brand campaigns, whatever. We'll just keep going with our journey and make sure that customers know where we are, who we are, and I think that's our plan anyway.
Yeah. What's some advice you would give to a young Danny Buck, at 18-year-old Danny Buck, if you were starting again today?
Aim for profit, not revenue. Focus on being small. It makes you a better business person by a long shot. Just make sure you're profitable. So there's too many case studies of businesses just losing money. You'll see it on Dragon's Den at the moment. They'll value the business at £2 million, and then they'll say, how much money have you made? Oh, we've lost 60 grand this year. And what about next year? We'll lose $1 million. And you're like, okay, so who's doing this? Who's advising these people? And I get it with apps and Silicon Valley and all this sort of stuff, but I think there's too much out there at the moment, which is about share your 5 million in a day revenue screenshot. I've been guilty in the past of falling into the trap, and it is ego. You want to look good in front of the community. You want to look like you're doing amazing. But do you know what looks really amazing? When you put a massive EBITDA at the end of the year and it goes on Company's House, and the real people that actually matter see that data. And that was a big changer. When the Sunday Times wanted to interview us because of our net profit percentage to turnover, which was the girl the senior business editor of the Times who interviewed me, who said, "This is mad. This is actually mad how you're doing this." That was the biggest compliment of all time for me, because there's businesses out there doing 50, 60 million and we make more money than them do it. I think this was on around 15 million. We did almost 40% net profit. It's not because we're ripping people off. It's because we've got such strong repeat business. We don't have to rely on high customer acquisition costs. We look after customers. We look after our team. There's a reason for it. And I believe that's a better business than a 50 million turnover company. Yeah, there is market share and stuff like that, but it causes way too much stress.
Yeah.
Focus on being small, I think. Small and mighty.
Yeah. Top 3 podcasts or books you would listen to or recommend?
Top 3 podcasts: Diary of a CEO, the E-commerce Influence podcast, and probably High Performance podcast. Quite like that one as well.
Yeah, that's good.
Then books, I would recommend Essentialism. It's one of my favourite books of all time. 80-20 Rule and Rework.
Cool. What about people? Top 3 people or companies that you follow, look up to?
Ben Francis, George Heaton, and third, wow, probably say my business partners. I think my business partners, Alex and Leon and Amy. I'd probably put that. It sounds a bit cheesy, I know, but I'd probably say them. I speak to them every day. I learn from them. I'd probably say them, yeah. But in terms of people in the industry, I quite like Jake Cassan as well from Movement. He's always been really good to me, even though he sells jewellery now as well. But he's always been great. But yeah, Ben Francis is fantastic.
Yeah.
What he's doing is amazing. I think what George is doing at Represent as well is great.
Cool. Is there anything that you haven't been asked about before that you would like to talk about or that you think is important?
Well, maybe fitness.
Yeah.
And business, maybe. So I compare the two a lot. Your mental fitness and your physical fitness, I believe, as a brand owner, you go through a lot of strain mentally. And that could be stress over financial payments. It could be staff related. It could be that you're obsessed. Someone's commented badly on your feed and they've insulted you, or all these things. But so I feel that side of it is not talked about enough, what actual mental strain you go through. And for me, I find getting myself in a good mood as fast as possible in the morning is vital to that. So I like to have a morning routine, to have my own time. I like to start with like a nice coffee or something like that, but do things on my own and get rid of distractions. So notifications are off. Don't look at any comments on Instagram, all those sorts of things. Just ignore all of these things. Try and get yourself in the gym in the morning and own your own time. So I have do not disturb on my phone. I decide when to do meetings, try not to do physical meetings. I'll do phone calls. I don't know why everyone has to do Zooms these days. It was just like stupid sort of things like that you can eliminate. I think that's time management and mental fitness, I think, is a good one.
Yeah, no, I think you're the perfect antidote actually as well to a lot of the kind of get up at 5 a.m, meditate, do my affirmations, then do a 4-hour block of Zoom calls. What's the most expensive bottle of red wine you've bought?
I've got 3 bottles of Petrus. I've got one Romani Conti, actually, that I've bought as an investment, which is stupid buying one because I'm definitely going to drink it. But it's not the main Romani Conti, which is about 25. It's their second one, which is Natash. I've got 3 bottles of this Petrus 2000 it is. Yeah, 2000 Petrus. And that's deep. That one's into the 5 figures, but it's an investment. So that's what I invest in. I don't invest in houses, or I do the brands, obviously, because that's what I know, but I don't do NFTs or Bitcoin or anything like that. I know I should consider it, but I don't. But for me, I know wine, so I buy wine, invest in wine.
Yeah, and worst case, it loses all its value. You can drink it, so...
That's it, yeah, great. So it's a flawless plan.
Last one, what's the end goal? What's your end goal?
It's always been freedom. So however that is interpreted by me at the time. So right now, freedom for me, I'm living the life I want to live. I can go on holiday whenever I want, decide not to work tomorrow if I don't want to. It's freedom, freedom. So if in 10 years' time I decide freedom is a yacht and sailing around the world, I'll need to sell my businesses for a good chunk of money and get a yacht and sail around the world. I think that's it. The end goal is fluid. It's fluid around freedom.
Yeah, it's got to be. Nice one. All right, let's wrap it up there. It was good fun. Thank you.